So notice the dates, though. We are told that the Dark Ages start when Rome falls on September 4, 476 AD. I told you at the beginning Rome didn't fall that day. It fell May 29, 1453. How do I know? On that date in September in 476, all that happened was Romulus Augustus, the Western Roman emperor, took off his purple robes, stuck it in a box with a note, sent it to Emperor Zeno, the Eastern Roman emperor, and said, there's no reason for two emperors. Let's just do one. You're it. I abdicate. That's not the same as Rome fell. On May 29, 1453, Ottoman soldiers entered Constantinople, the Roman capital, and captured it. And Rome ceased to own any real estate. That's when a state falls, is when it doesn't own real estate. That's how I know Rome didn't fall that moment. But what we are told is that the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, the medieval period starts with the fall of Rome in 476 and doesn't end until sometime around 1492, that it lasts 1,000 years. There's 1,000 years without knowledge. But I just showed you that there was actually extraordinary developments that were taking place, including calculus 600 years before Newton. Ibn al-Haytham stated Newton's first law of motion 600 years before Newton. He actually described Kepler's first law of planetary motion 500 years before Kepler. So the Arabs had idiomatically translated Aristotle into Arabic. When the Spanish were conquering Spain from the Muslims, they kept encountering libraries. The popes kept issuing edicts to burn all the books, just like when they had burnt the Great Library and just when they shut down the Academy of Athens. They wanted to continue this. The thinking went, you only need one book, it's the Bible. Why are we doing this science stuff? We don't need this. What we need to do is purge the libraries of all these books that make me feel uncomfortable. Oh, no, that's now. Oh, wait, no, that was then too. It's so confusing how nothing changes. We don't learn. Well, the monks who were ordered to destroy the books were the Benedictines and the Dominican monks. The Benedictines and the Dominican monks didn't obey the order. Set that pile on fire so they could show everybody they were burning the books. And then they'd sneak the other books into their underground library where they were busy translating it from Arabic into ancient Greek and Latin. And that's how we have Plato and Aristotle. We would have lost it all because the Christians were going around burning everything. What happened that was, not only did the Benedictine and the Dominican monks have second thoughts about this and refuse to follow their orders. It's good to not follow orders sometimes. But the Italians went, you know what I miss? The good old days when we had science and math and philosophy. Why don't we do that again? And sometime around 1300, they do the Renaissance. 1300, the Crusades end in 1291. After the Crusaders start coming back, they go, you know what we saw when we were there murdering all those Muslims and Jews? They had indoor plumbing and medicine and crop rotation. They're talking about things have gravity and that light has a finite speed and that the universe originates from a point of information. And the Italians go, oh wow, that's so cool. Let's do that here. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so the question is, why did Christianity reject all that philosophy and, set everything on fire at the same time that Muslims were embracing it? I don't think there's a simple answer. I think, there's a historical moment that Christians found themselves in as the Roman Empire was in decline. Right? The Roman Empire almost went away in the 3rd century. Diocletian saved it and reconstituted it. By that point, it goes Christian. And then as the Roman Empire goes Christian, it's in a terrible position. Its economy is garbage. The population is poor. The population is small. Rome at one point was 1.5 million people. By the time we get to the 6th century AD, there was about 50,000 Romans living in the city. So Rome itself was diminished. And I think in that moment, there was this sense of, it's hopeless, everything is falling apart around us. Let's turn to religion. We'll focus on religion. We'll just try to save our souls. We're not going to worry about the material world. And so I think that was the basis of the rejection, that it came out of a sense of despair. But in the same time, the Muslims were making this brand new empire. They were filled with vigor. They had this new religion. There was hope. There were dreams. They encountered philosophy and they fell in love with it and they ran with it. And so I think there was a little bit of that going on because, right, then Christians go, oh my God, why did we burn all that? And then they bring it back and the next thing you know, Britain conquers 40% of the planet. And so there's this pendulum swing. And I gotta say, I like one end of the swing. I do. I love science. I love things like antibiotics. Antibiotics are wonderful. I love calculus. I think it's a great thing. You should learn it. Physics. Boundless love of physics. When that pendulum comes swinging back the other way and we're setting books on fire and pulling them out of libraries in Texas, it freaks me out. Because I've seen this play before. I've read about it anyway. I wasn't there. And I know how this story ends. And you're not going to like it. You're not. We don't need to do this again. We've done it before. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. Just for the record.